Let's rate popular women's perfumes.
Here's some codes to save you some cash on your next Middle Eastern niche or designer fragrances.
What's going on, guys? My name is Neeb. Welcome back to AROMATIX. Today we're going to be rating popular women's perfumes. It's as simple as that. Before we get started, make sure to leave a like, hit that subscribe button, because occasionally, I'd like to more often, we talk about women's perfumes. Actually, we do talk about a lot of unisex perfumes and women's perfumes, but today it's going to be dedicated to you ladies out there. These are popular women's perfumes that I not only know of, I have in my collection. We're going to be talking about what I think. So basically, rating women's perfumes from a man's perspective. So let's go ahead and get started right off the bat. This is Dolce & Gabbana's Devotion. Devotion for me smells edible stuff. I get this floral but also lemon pound cake vibe. It actually reminds me a lot of like Xerjoff's Libre. It smells like a more designer version, not as lemon pound cakey, not as vanillic as Libre, but still definitely has that vibe for sure. In fact, this is one that I rocked. Okay, this is one that I rocked and got compliments while rocking. Edible, gourmand, sexy, but easy enough to wear for more than just gourmand style occasions. And gourmand style occasions is basically whenever you want to be smelling like a snack, basically. The performance on this was actually really good. So although it's not too, thick or cloying, it has a decent amount of floral aspects, and the performance was a good 8 to 9 hours on me. This is one that I wore. It's not going to be the case with a lot of these, but I wanted to test it out for myself. A solid fragrance for women. I would give this personally a 9 out of 10. Sexy, slightly gourmand, floral aspect that can transition into a daily scent. If a woman were to rock this, she would smell like she has money, and sexy, playful, flirty at the same time, in a bright way. I would see like spring, summer, maybe during the fall time, not necessarily winter, and even during the summertime, you want to go lighter on the trigger with that. Super sexy stuff. Dolce & Gabbana Devotion is very sexy and gets a thumbs up. Next one, Carolina Herrera's Good Girl. This is sexy stuff. This smells like you're taking off your red heels, straight up. Yeah, that's the vibes I get with this. This is like late dinner night, and it's got like lychee, it's got florals, specifically rose, some berries. You're after the date, and you're taking off your heels at his place or at my place, and yeah, this is really sexy stuff, man. This is a woman who's sophisticated, who's got her shit together, who's just sexy as So I mean, if that's your vibes, ladies, this is a 10. It is a 10. Every time I smell this, I'm like, let's not get nasty. But this is one that I would definitely get nasty for. Yeah, it's that sexy. I know every lady and her mother smells like it, but it's still one that's really sexy. Moving on to the next one. This takes those vibes, make it more wearable. If you want something that gives you sexy vibes, but will rock into more seasons, this is called Blush. This is Carolina Herrera's Good Girl Blush. Has a lot of those similar sexy factors, but it adds more of a musky nature to it, and kind of oriental to my nose at least. I've smelled this in a lot of musk style Middle Eastern fragrances, but it smells so sexy. Carolina Herrera has some of the sexiest women's fragrances. This is one of, and this is right after that. A little less serious, and for that reason, the versatility goes up, but you're gonna smell like you have money. This is posh, it's polished, it has more of a cosmetic feel to it as well. It's a lady in pink, it's got peony, I believe, a little less on the lychee vibe, super sexy stuff. I would give this one about a 9.5 to also a 10 out of 10. I love it as well. And then on the end of the spectrum came out Blush Elixir. This is how much I like these fragrances, seriously. I bought it so that if I wanna smell like a woman just left my place, I'll probably go with these heels, or I'll just leave these heels at the door. These bottles are actually pretty cute. So this Blush Elixir, I thought it was gonna be better than Blush, but in all honesty, Blush is better. The reason is because if you want date night, you've got the red. And if you want, versatility, you've got the pink. But this kind of meets it in both worlds. It kind of takes it in somewhere in between both. So it takes Blush and adds more of a raunchy nature to it, but I believe it also has ylang ylang, which adds these yellow florals, making it a bit thicker. It's a sexier version of Blush, but it's kind of like, I don't know, the fact that it was versatile and still sexy at the same time is what I liked about Blush. And so it kind of took away from the whole point of it. This is still a great one, but I would personally rate it about an 8.5 out of 10. If a woman were to wear that, she would absolutely get a compliment from me personally. But with all things considered, this and that being available, I would say that these are probably better to start off with. If you find that you really love Blush, then at that moment, I would say grab the Elixir. Both of them are worth grabbing, but the Elixir being after the actual Blush. Moving on to the next fragrance is YSL Libre. This is a must-have in most women's collection. This is a versatility magnet and compliment magnet. It's just fresh, it's zingy, it's bright, it's effervescent. This smells like a woman with money and class, as simple as that. And it also can transition to multitude of seasons. Has some floral aspects, some fresh aspects. It's a beautiful fragrance that I think every woman should have in their collection. I've actually asked quite a few women what they were wearing when they were wearing Libre, and it was one that it was worth complimenting to the point where I bought a bottle in itself. I do prefer this one over the Le Parfum and the Intense, but both of those are going to be pickups of mine because I think it's valuable to talk about them. This is a fragrance that lasts about 6 to 7 hours. I did rock this one as well, and it reminded me of classic men's fragrances in the style of the way that it does things. It just works. It's fresh, it's clean, it's compliment worthy, mass appealing. YSL Libre is a freaking, I want to say like an 8.5 out of 10 because there are better, more complex fragrances, but in terms of versatility and bang for buck, it's definitely going to be like a 9 out of 10. Scent profile in itself is where it takes a couple notches down because it's just simple. But sometimes simple things are beautiful, and this is definitely the case with that. So yes, absolutely one that is worthy of grabbing and signature scent, worthy for fall, spring, and summertime. Speaking of versatility, this is Burberry London Dream. This is another versatile fragrance that if you enjoy Libre, I would imagine you're gonna enjoy this as well. It's got ginger, lemon, peony, rose, musk, and amber. A simple scent profile, and that's exactly what makes it beautiful. It's fresh, it's citric, a little bit of florals, and it smells like something you could wear every single day. So if that's what you're looking for with something that smells high quality, this is the one to go with. I wouldn't imagine that it's gonna last the longest, but regardless of the fact, spring and summer, this is actually really good. Don't expect something magical when you go and sniff it, but it's something that will absolutely get compliments, at least from me. There's just enough rose, it's not thick, it's not too much on those florals. It has a nice lift from some of that ginger, zingy, very attention grabbing as well. You might have to spray this on a lot because it does wear a little bit lighter considering the fact that it's relatively fresh, but still a sexy ass fragrance. I would give this a solid all around 8 out of 10. Moving on to the next one is Kayali's Vanilla Candy. This is one that I rocked as well, and it was actually pretty interesting when rocking this. Interesting because I ate all the candies in the box the same day, but also interesting because it kind of does like this sugary sweet, but also light in nature fragrance. You can easily rock this one in a multitude of seasons, and it actually wears better during like the spring. I would say maybe during the fall, but not in the winter time. It's not like syrupy sweet, it's just like sugar in the cotton candy sense. It's fluffed up, it's lighter to wear basically. It's got pear, violet, bubblegum, and rock sugar with a little bit of vanilla cream. Not as syrupy sweet as something like vanilla syrup, making it easier to wear during the other seasons, including warmer seasons, I should say. Something I would give a 7.5 to a 7.75 out of 10. It smells very flirty, playful, fun. It's like a girl in pink, basically. That's just going about her day or wants to smell a little bit sweet. Very, very mass appealing. It's gonna get compliments. It's nothing show-stopping, but it works and it smells really good. So the reason I gave a fresher one a bit higher of a score is because the versatility. You're gonna be able to wear this more often than you will Vanilla Candy. Although the scent profile of this is a little bit more flirty and playful than something like Burberry, the versatility does take it down a notch just a little bit, but it is still relatively versatile. Moving on to the next one is Valentino Donna, the original one. I feel like this is underrated, but I can understand why, because it has more polarizing notes for women like leather, praline, iris. There's also a lot of vanilla and patchouli. This is a thicker fragrance for sure, ladies. This is wintertime sexy. If a woman were to wear this around me during the wintertime, I'd definitely notice. It's thick, it's creamy, it's got aphrodisiac notes in my opinion. The notes of like patchouli, iris, leather can be sexy on women, definitely can be sexy. And from a man's perspective, the note of patchouli is actually really sexy. Aphrodisiac vibes basically. But this one doesn't just take that earthy patchouli and leather, it also enhances it with a lot more vanilla cream and some feminine aspects like a hefty dose of iris. It has a floral aspect with a little bit of this rooty quality that's similar to other notes like orris as well. So thick, rooty, has a hefty dose of rose and praline. It's not going to be for everybody, but I find it to be very sexy and also wears very thick in the wintertime. This is one that's going to last all freaking day. I give this one a solid 8.5 to almost a 9 out of 10. A classic scent, smells mature, and that's where it's going to lose a lot of people. It is more so on the mature side, but still very, very sexy. Moving on to the next fragrance is called Nuez Moi by House of Sillage. Another one that's extremely raunchy, and this smells like, think of patchouli rose combinations that are really rough, and I'm talking about ones that smell similar to Portrait of a Lady rough, but not nearly as rough as that. It's got pink pepper, some bergamot, a lot of rose, patchouli, and cardamom. So in a sense, this could potentially sound unisex, except what keeps it grounded into feminine territory is an extremely heavy dose of rose. If you don't like the note of rose, you're not gonna like this, but if you like rose and patchouli, this is actually a very sexy one, and it's one that smells better when you're wearing it. It definitely has these sexy vibes, and the cupcake is is really nice. I think this is gonna be polarizing for most women. Personally, I would give this around a 7 out of 10. I'm not gonna say that this is a must-have, but is one to sample if you like that rose patchouli combination. It is very, very sexy as well. Moving on to the next one is Prada Paradox. This is a great white floral signature scent, but much more than that. It smells expensive. It is pretty expensive anyway. It's got notes of pear, tangerine, a lot of neroli, and orange blossom, and that's for the most part what I get. But it's also musky and vanillic in nature as well. Underneath all of those notes, I also get a hefty dose of jasmine, and to me, jasmine is one of the prettiest notes used in perfumery for men or for women. So it smells extremely expensive, and you're gonna smell rich when you're rocking something like this. White florals, a lot of jasmine and vanilla and amber. Such a sexy fragrance, ladies. If you're looking for something that just smells clean and some with those white florals, this is the one to go with. A little bit of orange flower, watery vibes, some jasmine, nectarine vibes as well. One of the best signature scents that you can rock. I give this one personally a 9.5 out of 10. It's damn near a 10 out of 10 as well. So let's give it a 9.75 because I almost want to say 10, but it isn't as versatile as something like Libre. Paradox is so beautiful. So freaking beautiful. A lot of white florals. It screams feminine vibes all day, and that is one that would absolutely get compliments from me. Moving on to the next fragrance. This is called Le Bel Le Parfum. Le Bel Le Parfum is all about pear, tonka, and vanilla. It's extremely sweet and fruity at the same time. So if you enjoy those date night style vibes like Carolina Herrera's Good Girl, then you're gonna like this as well. The main difference though is that this one goes more into like the musky, vanillic nature of things. Less around all of those fruits and not much of a gummy nature because it only really focuses on pear, but my God, it smells amazing. Like I said, it is muskier in nature, kind of smells closer to a family of like blush. Really, really good and extremely strong. One spray will fill an entire room. The tonka, the musk, the vanilla, and there's more going on to this one. I get some kind of ambers. It's such a beautiful fragrance. And not to mention that it has a hefty dose of jasmine. This, for date night realm, is another 10 out of 10. I would put this right side by side with this one for sure. Whereas this one takes you more into a sexier, more seductive realm, this one adds a little bit more sweetness and playfulness. It's still extremely sexy. It's long lasting, it's strong as hell. This isn't one that I wore because it's just way too feminine, but sexy AF. Next one, Mus Noir Rose for Her. This has notes of plum, tuberose, musk obviously, rose, and vanilla. So as you can see, there's a certain sexy vibe that I get personally with musky style fragrances that are really packed with some sweetness, okay? And it does not like a sweetness that'll give you sweet tooth vibes or something like Devotion. It's not gonna go syrupy or cloying. The musk nature of the fragrance helps it from going that realm, and that's why I personally love it. This smells like cosmetics, it smells like $1,000,000, it smells like signature scent worthy fragrance as well. It also treads in this musk territory, which is extremely sexy, but it adds the note of plum. It's subtle, it's not something that's too in your face. It has an overall cosmetic rose, musk, and vanilla vibe. Such a sexy fragrance, you'll smell like $1,000,000 on a daily. This is a fragrance that would absolutely get my attention, and it's one that smells extremely expensive and polished. If you like muskier fragrances and rose with vanilla, subtle but present, this is absolutely going to be exactly that. This is more subtle than something like La Belle and Devotion, etc., and very similarly done to the subtle nature of blush. A beautiful fragrance that definitely deserves to be signature scented and would easily get compliments. Mus Noir Rose. And it also has the versatility to last in any season except for the winter time. Musky, powdery, feminine, sexy. Compliment worthy. Next one, Cafe Oud by Kayali. This is sexy stuff. It's warm, it's got cappuccino, rose, vanilla, and some oud. Sexy stuff. It would absolutely get compliments, but be careful with the trigger because this can be heavy. And if a woman were to rock something like this a little too heavy, it can actually do the opposite, but still. Coffee, oud, vanilla, yeah, very sexy stuff. And it smells like something that's definitely going to last a hell of a long time. And the next one is also Black Opium. Black Opium, in my opinion, is dark, but it's sexy. They just released the red version, which is like cherries with that vibe. And in fact, I remember thinking, man, this smells like, I don't know if I like it better than Lost Cherry, but it was still very sexy. Can't really say too much since I don't have them on hand, but those are three fragrances that I'm absolutely considering grabbing because it's good. Libre Intense, Libre Le Parfum, these are all fragrances that I plan on picking up and talking about. And if they sound interesting or if this video was interesting, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. But to end this, we're gonna be talking about La Vie Belle. La Vie Belle is a fragrance that's pretty in pink, basically. Flirty, playful, seductive, can be dressed up and can be dressed down. It is a fragrance that's been in the community for a long time and a lot of women have it. And sure, yeah, is it dated? Maybe, but still, regardless regardless of the fact, for those who are just coming into space and for those who are just looking for fragrances that work, it absolutely does. It's playful, it's flirty, it's sexy, it's seductive. It's like a girl wearing pigtails, basically, okay? Maybe that's a more of a personal thing, but it's pretty sexy, regardless of the fact. And this is what she'd wear. My rating for La Vie est Belle would be a solid 9 out of 10, and for Cafe Oud, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. If you're considering buying your ladies a gift, or ladies, if you're thinking about which fragrances to grab, I hope this video helped you in any way. And if it did, you know what to do, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.